Mixing rap vocals in FL Studio. A widely talked about subject on the internet, but one thing I feel that is always forgotten about is the importance of recording. So today I'll be kind of guiding you through the process of setting up and recording within you, whatever DAW you want to use. I'm just using FL Studio because it is what I started with. So sit back, relax, grab a bag of chips and let's hang out. So to briefly summarize what I have going on in front of me, I've basically been figuring out ways over time to emulate an analog style workflow. Now, those wondering what an analog style workflow is, it is basically a vocal chain or mixing chain that would have been used in a fully analog studio, meaning without any software. So looking at what I have in front of me in kind of an overview perspective, to our right we have our effect sends, which are our reverbs, delays, and all the things that add, the fairy dust is what I call it to the song. In the middle where we have our green channels, which is really just our workspace, right? We've got our main vocal and our ad-lib or double-lib. We've got extra channels that we can do whatever we want with. And then on our red, the red channel is our microphone input. Obviously, we need somewhere for our microphone to come in. To the left, we've got our purple channels, which are our buses, auxes, groups, whatever you want to call them. That is where we summarize our sounds. So as you can see in rap and hip hop, we have our beats and instrumentals. So if you had stems, you would send all of these stems to the beat channel and all of our vocals to the vocal group or bus. And then obviously everything goes to the master channel. So that's a basic overview of what we have going on. I would definitely recommend studying channel routing if you really want to understand the ins and outs of audio. If you understand that, the world will definitely open up to you. With that being said, let's get into our vocal effects tutorial. If you do enjoy the sound of this, feel free to stop by the web store. There's all sorts of interesting things that you can go ahead and purchase and play around with and experiment and learn. And what is up, everybody? It is your boy Farai. Thank you once again for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the new intro. I'm trying to figure out new ways to keep the content fresh and put in as much information as possible with every video, you know what I mean? No one knows how long we'll be, so it's important that we provide information. Anyway, so basically today, I've just been really inspired by Lil Uzi Vert's music, you know what I mean, by the camp that's around him. I follow a lot of the people that help orchestrate his music. I definitely recommend going and following engineer Kaylee. She's just amazing. She's the one who actually records Uzi, and I want to stress the importance of recording. So here's kind of just a clip, hopefully you can see it on the screen right now, of how I'm recording. As you can see, around the microphone, it's just a lot of stuff that I can use to deaden the sound. I don't want any reflections in my recording. If you feel that your recordings sound hollow and nasty, it's probably because your room has nothing to block off the sound reflections. Sound travels incredibly fast, so by the time you've already spoken a word, the sound has bounced a couple hundred times off the walls, and that is basically just smearing your audio signal. So I really want to stress that that's how we can get much clearer and cleaner sounding, vocals. But anyway, so this is new Patek kind of remix that I've been playing with. I really like the instrumental. Oh my gosh, I've spelled that so badly. That is funny. But yeah, I'll just play what I have. We'll break down, Obviously the beat doesn't sound exactly the same, but this is a damn close remake. Shout out to Scrunky. It's always a risk finding beats, Go and listen to like any Lil Wayne remix tape, and the beats that were remakes were never really perfect, but it gets the idea across, So let's get it and all that stuff.
Yeah, remix, hit that lick, right around with Shotty, Michael Smarchy Dorky, 40 pounds, blowing pounds, stars around my neck, stay clean like some laundry, rockstar life, take a flight, take a bath, clean like white, serving white, diamond white, look like Mr. Frosty, smoking on that broccoli.
Alright, so I freestyled until the end of the song really, but that was probably the best part of it. So yeah, Lil Uzi Vert style, man, really interesting. I really like the way he raps on the instruments, I try to do that, the way he raps on the 808s instead of the snare is really interesting to me. But yeah, so as you can see, the first thing I obviously did was I routed my mic input towards the main vocal channel. Here's a note. You'll find all sorts of notes if you do decide to purchase this template. But, as I said in the intro, this is our workspace. This is where we can create all of the different tones and different elements within our song. Now obviously with rap we keep it really simple. we got our main vocal, and then we've kind of just got our ad-lib or doubler, which is really just the emphasis on our main vocal. So this area right here, you know, if you think of an analog mixing console, you always have a channel that has the mono main vocal on it, right? And on that channel strip, you'll find an EQ, maybe even a second EQ, you know what I mean? And another EQ, right? Because this is the digital world, we can go overboard with what we have now. All of these effects right here, even this EQ right here, is just there to tone shape what we have. So this is kind of the area where you just want to kind of dip any weird bass that you may find in the recording, boost what may be lacking. As you can see, I don't really emphasize words all that much when rapping, so it's important to kind of, you know, poke out whatever needs to be poked out, getting rid of whatever needs to be gotten rid of per se. And then you could really use these analog EQs just for taste, you know what I mean? If you cannot hear the taste, you know, you don't need to yet. You know, it was years before I started to really like hear the kind of subtle nuances in analog modeled EQs, you know what I mean? So yeah, you can kind of just look what I'm doing here, just basic cuts and dips, you know. Either if you are using this template, just keep them where they are and just really focus on your recording sound. But you know, if you really do get it, you can just do little boosts here and there just to add on, you know, a little bit of sauce to your vocal. But if I turn these all off, you can kind of hear. Let's just kind of bounce the vocal. Let me just get these out the way.
Yeah, remix, yeah. Yeah, hit that lick. Yeah, ride around with Shawty, Michael Smarchy Dorky. Yeah, 40 pounds. Yeah, blowing pounds. Yeah, stars around my neck, stay clean like some laundry. Yeah, rockstar life. Yeah, take a flight. Yeah, take a bath. Yeah, clean like white. Yeah, serving white. Yeah, diamond white.
So yeah, as you can hear right there, the vocal gets a lot more brighter, less kind of dark, you know what I mean? I like to record dark so that I can brighten up the vocal, you know what I mean? If you record bright, it's really hard to make it darker. So, you know, just think about that. Auto-tune I'll leave for another video. I don't think it's that important to this video. There will be a video released the next day, I guess. We'll make one called Lil Uzi Vert's auto-tune style or whatever. But yeah, so this is really just your tone shaping channel. Same for the doubler, you know what I mean? All I'm doing is just adding a bit of flanger and then tone shaping, you know what I mean? EQ, think of EQ as tone shaping, just making space, you know what I mean? We want to blend our vocal with our beat. Now, obviously, you know, we can't just do a bit of EQ, because if I turn all of these effects off, then we're still not there yet.
Yeah, remix, yeah. Yeah, hit that lick. Yeah, ride around with Shawty, Michael Smarchy Dorky. Yeah, 40 pounds. Yeah, blowing pounds. Yeah, stars around my neck, stay clean like some laundry. Yeah, rockstar life. Yeah, take a flight.
So as you can see, everything in conjunction really works well. So, you know, the thing we're doing, we'll jump straight into the vocal chain. I decided to bypass this for today, but maybe you may want to use it. De-esser, obviously, you can use the free modern de-esser. Sounds pretty similar, you know what I mean? I just really like this because it's visual. I like to see what's going on. So you can kind of see I'm really just kissing any S's, anything that may pop out. Just kind of look out for anything where there's a S or a ps or something like that. And you'll see that the attenuation meter, you know, reduces that specific frequency, right? So I've chosen this. This is kind of a standard de-essing frequency. So just watch what happens.
Yeah, remix, yeah. Yeah, hit that lick. Yeah, ride around with Shawty, Michael Smarchy Dorky.
See, shorty and smart get really heavily de-essed. So
yeah, ride around with Shawty, Michael Smarchy Dorky.
You know what I mean? It's just little things that are gonna help your vocal pop out without being sore to listen to.
Yeah, ride around with Shawty, Michael Smarchy Dorky.
And because I've recorded well, even those S's aren't really that bad, you know what I mean? So this is just really a safety net. Now, obviously, you saw me pop up this. This is my, you know, beautiful little creation right here, the FTP vocal chain, man. I love it so much. And I'll just go straight into it. So as you saw in the intro, I already said -9 coming into this. So the first thing I like to do is a bit of saturation. Now I'm using the bus color 4. This whole vocal chain is free besides the flanger, but as you can see right there, there is a replacement. But with that out the way, saturation, you know, the reason why this is such an interesting saturator is because we have all these colors that we can use. So what I like to do is drive a little bit. In this case, I did drive it. Basically, that means I'm saturating it a bit more and then just pulling the output volume down. So I get the grit, but I don't increase in volume. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's kind of cool. You can kind of play around with all the different colors and all that stuff. The next thing I do is just a bit of EQ. I call this kind of analog style filter because I'm rolling off and I'm also rolling off the top end as well and just getting rid of all the harsh frequencies. The next thing I do is just a bit of compression. Now this is Air Windows, Logic 4. The bus color 4 is also Air Windows. Definitely stop by airwindows.com and just just download everything. It's all free, and donate Chris $1 or $2 if you do have the extra funds. Now again, standardized rap EQ. You shouldn't have to EQ more than I've EQ'd by now, you know what I mean? All we're doing is little cuts and boosts and all that kind of stuff, just to really make sure our vocal sounds silky smooth. And over time you will learn, you know, where the harsh frequencies are in your own voice. This is just really standardized settings right here, dipping, you know, in these kind of areas and all that. Next thing I do is just a bit of compression. Now this is a very famous this is an emulation of a famous compressor called the Fairchild. I always forget. Now with this FTP vocal chain, if you see 1 dB of gain reduction, your leveling is right.
Right around with shawty, Michael's munchy dorky. Yeah, 40 pounds. Yeah, blowing pounds. Yeah, stars around my neck, stay clean like some laundry. Yeah, rockstar life.
You know what I mean? So anything between 0 and 1 decibel of compression, perfect, because this is acting as a limiter. This is really just pushing away the loud parts. Over time, you'll learn what a limiter is truly for, just to really, you know, say, hey, you're getting too loud now, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, what I like to do as well, just a bit of parallel compression. Yeah, so as you can see, the secret here is I'm actually not really compressing too much. I'm just doubling up the vocal to get more loudness.
Yeah, right around with shawty, Michael's munchy dorky. Yeah, 40 pounds.
And this is really just a leveling amplifier, 2LA style compressor, that kind of thing. You know, parallel compression, NY compression, go check that out on YouTube for a full video breakdown. Now, just as I parallel compress, I also send, just like I'm sending, you know, the main vocal towards all of these cool reverbs and all of that kind of stuff. If you look there, I'm sending the main vocal towards there. We can do that within patches. So as you can see, I like to send, and I'll just let you read here, blend the input gain with the main vocal. Boom. All you're doing is just blending all of these input gains right here, you know, and then they all meet with the dry signal. You know what I mean? Less is more, fool. That's a good tip right there, because that's something I've had to learn the hard way, right? So what we have here is just a really small reverb sound, and we blend that in with a flange as well. As I say before, this is a $20 plugin, and the choruses and flanges are just recreations of some of the best sounding Japanese effects. Now, in my opinion, just like the Purity VST that everyone uses, you know what I mean? Mexico Dro was blowing up off Purity. The Japanese are just so good at making just really interesting sounds, you know what I mean? Per se, you could say they sound cheap because they don't sound like Omnisphere, but they're in their own lane, you know what I mean? And the flanges are the same. But if you do not have 20 bucks to purchase this, you can just use this, you know what I mean? All you do is just, obviously this wouldn't pop up, so you would just route this to there. Boom, it's as easy as pie, you know what I mean? So as well, what we do is just a little bit of delay, just to kind of, you know, if I mute this.
Right around with shawty, Michael's munchy dorky.
That delay is just what's going on right over there. Tiny bit of delay, almost like 2% of delay. Yeah, and then all I do again is just a bit more EQ, mid-side EQ, you know, just basic stuff, you know what I mean? You don't really need to worry too much about that yet. If you find that confusing, I don't want to make it confusing for you. But yeah, so I turn these effects back on, and you know what I've going on right here. It's just a bit of Fruity Convolver with the really nice reverb room sound going on. So that's what we're emulating today.
Right around with shawty, Michael's munchy dorky. Yeah, 40 pounds. Yeah, blowing pounds. Yeah, stars around my neck, stay clean like some laundry. Yeah, rockstar life. Yeah, take a flight. Yeah, take a bath. Yeah, clean like white.
Yeah, so I would generally turn this off until you've kind of blended your vocal in nicely. This just adds that 3D depth that, you know, you always hear within songs, but don't quite, you know, you don't really hear it, but it's there, you know what I mean? It's just a small reverb room. It's really popular for rap. You don't want to have like a too crazy of a reverb. Lil Uzi Vert does tend to have that kind of everlasting reverb effect in the background, but it's just subtle, you know what I mean? Less is more, fool. That's the tip for myself. But yeah, additionally to that, we're using a bit of waves. H today, I really love the way the ping pong sounds in this. It pans from left to right. So if you kind of see, I emphasize it on certain parts, like over here.
Yeah, remix, yeah.
That's it right there, you know what I mean? Just a little bit going on, and then we actually put that into a reverb because delays on their own suck. So you know what I mean? You gotta join it in with something. Just a bit of distortion right here, parallel compression, you know what I mean? Go and Google that, you know, I've talked about that in this chain right here. Bit of stereo width as well, before I forget. This is just a little trick I learned from Chris Lord Algae, just to kind of put full stereo width on there, just to really emphasize those flanges and stuff like that. But really minimally, you know, if I turn this off.
Yeah, remix, yeah. Yeah, hit that lick. Yeah, ride around with Shawty, Michael Smunchy Dorky. Yeah, 40 pounds.
And then, yeah, you know what I mean? Just really just minimal. You could use the A1 stereo processor, almost the same thing. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can show you in this video, you know. But yeah, hope you really enjoyed the video, you know what I mean? Drop a like, sub, ask a question. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Stop by the web and all that kind of stuff. I will be providing a free version of this as well. And this version as well, this is the editor's copy, I'll call it. You know, if there is always a problem with the free one, just give me an email. I'm always trying to update that. You know, we sent an update for one of the other templates, and I can only ever know if something's wrong if you tell me, you know what I mean? So, you know, always here and all that kind of stuff. Have a pleasant day, you know what I'm saying? Keep recording, keep mixing, keep working, grinding, you know, because we will get somewhere eventually. So, biggest salutes to you. I'll check you out next time. Peace.